Alright, so VFW is the fourth film from director Joe Begos, if I counted correctly, and second higher budget film. This one was released in 2019, and he came out with one the previous year as well, which I have not seen yet, called Bliss. Definitely on my list as well. But this one got a lot of buzz and a lot of hype in the horror exploitation realm, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. It's been on my radar, and I was able to pick it up on 4K/Blu-ray and watched it for the first time. I've already seen clips of it, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. It's praised for having a big John Carpenter vibe, which, let me tell you, this is not just a love letter to John Carpenter, but it's more like an entire Valentine's Day card to the guy. It just takes so much inspiration from 80s exploitation and 80s, cheesy action horror stuff that John Carpenter was famous for. You get a lot of vibes from Assault on Precinct 13. You get a lot of Escape from New York vibes, especially with the music and the costume design. It just plays on a lot of that B-movie tropeness. I actually was thinking of doing a B-movie banter on this, but it's a little bit too high of a budget for a B-movie banter, at least a real one. Even though this completely feels like a B film and it's designed to feel like one, it still deserves a Cellar review, in my opinion. And that's what it's getting. So, yeah, Joe Begos directed it. I don't think he produced it. I think he just directed it. The editor of it is in here, though, as one of the villains, which I found cool. He plays Tank in the movie. And, yeah, you get a bunch of producers in here. And then obviously the cast. I mean, Stephen Lang is the one I recognized immediately by name. He's famous for Avatar, for playing that ruthless antagonist soldier with the gray hair. And he was also in Don't Breathe a little bit more recently in 2016, I believe, as the blind homeowner who takes vengeance on the kids robbing his house, unknowing that they're fucking with a veteran, a blind veteran. And here he is playing a veteran bartender in VFW. What does that stand for again? I wrote it down. Veterans of Foreign War. The guys that get to drink for free in VFW post bars, which sounds amazing. But, when you serve your country, you deserve some free booze. So yeah, and then a bunch of other well-known names, although I didn't recognize any of them. William Sadler, Martin Cove. You get Fred Williamson and Tom Williamson, who I believe are related. They're both black and have the same last name, so maybe not. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess on that one. And then you got Sierra McCormack, which is an absolute cutie. Definitely rough around the edges and certainly a badass in this film, but she's got that cute face to her. She's a cuddly little demon, I guess. And the story's simple, man. Like you got this drug on the street, which is considered hyloephedrine, which they call hype, and it's basically overtaking opioids. And people are getting addicted to this instead of opioids because it's like a stronger form of it, and they get so addicted that they basically become psychotic for it, and that's where the money is in, I guess, for these drug kingpins. So a girl is killed at the beginning brutally, where her dealer basically, they're in some kind of abandoned theater or something, and the dealer is teasing her with this little bottle or vial of hype, and he throws it off the balcony, and he's like, if you want to go get it, and she's obviously so hooked that she actually jumps to her death. And it's just like, really, man? Like, what's the point of that? You just lost a customer, first of all, and second of all, you're just a piece of shit. Like, who does that? Like, that's just gotta be one of the most evil things you can do. But, the lifestyle. So it starts off with that, and then it goes into these four war veterans who are basically the bartender, played by Stephen Lang, is celebrating his birthday, and these guys are just drinking and shooting the shit. When all of a sudden, this teen girl, Elizabeth, played by Sierra McCormick, runs into the bar with a backpack, and all these villains are chasing after her, and they've got guns and machetes, and they attack this one of the veterans named Doug, and he gets a machete right through the shoulder blade. But he's kind of the comedic relief for a lot of the film because he doesn't die. Obviously, a lot of people have a hard time dying in this film, as brutal as it is, and as brutal as the attacks as they get. Not enough to kill them right away. Obviously, it's a B movie. But yeah, then because of this girl running into the bar with a bunch of drugs, these drug lords are after her and the veterans to get it back. And because the leader of the gang, Balls's brother Rhodey, was the first to come into the bar and the first to be killed, Boz has another vengeance towards everybody in this bar, so he's ready to cause havoc and just murder everybody. Basically, just he doesn't just want his drugs back anymore. He wants vengeance at the same time. So this young teen girl, and not teen, she's just a young girl, 20s or something. She looks young. She looks really young. She's a baby face, but like I said, rough around the edges like hell, and she's a feisty one. Yeah, they're just trying to fight off these guys. The costume design is really really well done, and it feels like I said, an 80s Carpenter film. Assault on Precinct 13. This has got a lot of Hobo with a Shotgun vibes too. I really got that, especially with Elizabeth, who they call Lizard in the film. That's her nickname. And these older veterans protecting her, kind of thing. It kind of gave me that Hobo with a Shotgun vibe, with the hobo protecting the young girl in that movie. And the music is very Terminator-esque. Post-apocalyptic, dystopian, kind of something you would like kind of see in Blade Runner kind of thing. It's along those I keep saying B movie. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I think you kind of get the picture if you watched any of the films I just named. It really plays into that. It's got a lot of dark colors, reds, blues, as you can see behind me. And it's a very rich and dense film for the mood it wants to create, and it creates it well. Creates it very well, actually. There's a scene before all the havoc starts to happen where these old guys are talking about shaved pussy and how they're not used to it. They wonder how like the girls get it so smooth and stuff like that, and they're just going back and forth with this shaved pussy banter. And they just sound like old timers. Like they're so old school with some of the shit they say. It's pretty funny. It's the script is entertaining as much as the carnage candy is in this film. Liz can be a little bit of a bitch. She's not like super grateful for a little bit of the time that she's being saved and protected by these guys. She doesn't really give them much of a courtesy for doing that. But it goes with the territory for like who she is and where she came from and stuff. Not to mention her sister being the one who jumped off the balcony at the beginning of the film, which you learn throughout. So she has her own reasons to want vengeance on this gang as well, and to steal their drugs in the first place, because it makes it seem like she stole the drugs either to do herself or to sell, or because she was hooked on them so much that she wanted them for herself. But then it turns out that she basically just wanted a big FU to Boz and his gang, and was just trying to have a vengeance on her sister. So there's a lot of sound effects, especially with the punches, that are really corny, but it goes with the territory, I guess. They like it. You can tell that the director and the production team behind this film did that on purpose, for it to really fit more of the B movie tropes and Carpenter tropes that it was going for. So it's not too bad, but it does get a little repetitive and it does get a little tedious sometimes with the whole like comic book Batman sound effects kind of thing. But it's not like anything that really takes you out of the film or anything. I just found it very repetitive and very like ongoing. There's a character named Lou who's played by Martin Cove. He's really funny. I don't. On the cover, he looks like kind of like an old Will Ferrell. Just a little bit though. In the film, he doesn't, but in that cover, I keep looking at it and keep doing a double take. I'm like, that looks like Will Ferrell in like 20 years or 30 years or whatever. But he's basically the worst negotiator ever, because there's that scene where he goes to negotiate with Boz and his gang, and it's just ridiculous. It's like he thinks he's the biggest like genius negotiator in the world. He thinks he's like Tony Robbins or some shit. When he goes to talk to these guys, he's like trying to make a deal with them and asks them to meet him halfway kind of thing, and they're like, no, you're gonna die, you're gonna give us the drugs and then we're gonna kill you all. And he's like, but can we talk about this? Yeah, it's I found that hilarious because it was going nowhere. And then it turns into a bloodbath. We've got people stabbing each other, crushing each other's heads in with all practical effects. So you got pieces of brain matter and bone and shit like that. Heads being blown off with shotguns, and everybody's getting drunk in the meantime because you got these old, experienced war veterans who have obviously seen bodies being crushed before and have no problem being around death and are probably very used to it. Surrounded by alcohol and whiskey, especially because whiskey is a big part of the drink of choice with these guys. And yeah, they're going batshit, protecting their bar, especially Stephen Lang playing Fred, protecting his bar, his fort, and his friends and his buddies, and this random girl that they kind of make it their duty as veteran soldiers to protect. And it's fun. It's fun, and the film set out to be something, and it nailed it. And Joe Begos is definitely, if you pronounce it Begos, a director to look out for. I have not seen Bliss, like I said, but I have it on my list, and I have read and heard the premise, and it sounds like something that would interest me as well. And I kind of just read a little bit more of his first film, Bad Moon Rising, as well. I'm always up for finding new and good werewolf films, as cheesy or as corny as they may be. I like all kinds. I find werewolves are funny enough, not a touched upon monster like other monsters are. So I'm interested that his directorial debut was a werewolf film, so I would definitely want to check that one out. And I'm pretty sure that this is going to look incredible in 4K when I'm able to watch it in 4K. And some features in it too. I watched a couple of them, the making of and the cast. I love the cast in it. Everybody does really, really well, and Elizabeth is nice to look at. Very nice to look at. Yeah, that's VFW. I liked it. As I was saying about Doug too, he's a big comical relief because the majority of the time that he's on screen, he's just laying on the bar dying, but he still keeps talking shit every once in a while to everybody, and he's calling people like pussy and stuff like that. And he's severely wounded, but he still has a sense of humor about everything, and he's just resting up in the bar, and everybody like will forget him for a while because they're so busy fighting off this gang, and he's just chilling over there. So yeah, it's they do some pretty funny things with the characters, and there's a lot of entertainment to be had anyway. But that's VFW, and I pretty much covered it all. Yep, and it's available now. I should be pretty cheap, from what I know. I mean, the 4K, I think, I have to backtrack how much I paid for it, but it wasn't much. I'm pretty sure it was under 20, so that's all I've got on that. And if you like Carpenter films, you're going to love this nod to the man himself. So support that, and support Morgan Film Fan. Subscribe if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews, and I will be back for plenty more, of course. So until next time, have a good one, and cheers.